Hi, Doc. You get a home run here?
This is a big one, man. Just reading it is a big one. All right. It says, hi, I appreciate your efforts and the doc's knowledge. He's like the Yoda of anabolics.
Nice.
I'm laughing with you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm just thinking of Yoda. Thanks for doing this series with the doc. I have been training for 10 years and I'm 25 now, male. However, for 7 years, I've been suffering from low energy and weight gain. I have had consistently high TSH levels, thyroid stimulating hormone, of about 5.5, although T4 being normal, my doctor has put me on T4 medication. It did nothing for me. Until recently, I went against my doctor's advice and took T3. UK doctors do not prescribe T3 for hypothyroidism, only T4. They think it is more safe to use T4. I felt energetic and I felt young again. That sounds
He's
funny.
25.
I know. As 53, pardon my laughing, but you got to appreciate that I'm laughing that you're feeling young again at 25. But no, I mean, I've seen this before where I don't mean to, I'm laughing at this
Yeah.
the
We wish we
concept.
were 25.
Because there's guys that are 25 that don't feel good because something's gone wrong. So I'm not making fun. I'm really laughing with because it just sounds funny. Let's see. Sorry, I lost my place. Young again on 25 micrograms of T3. However, testosterone levels were always calculated to be 17.1 or 16.7, the normal range being 9 to 30. Again, if I don't have measurements, I don't really know what that means. In other words, 17 doesn't mean anything to me unless it's picograms per milliliter. So it's a little difficult for me, guys and gals, if you're sending me these questions, but I don't know to what you're referring. I can assume most of the time, but again, we're talking about UK numbers.
Yeah. Different.
Just want to make sure we're on the same page. But again, that's why I appreciate normal range, whatever normal is, 9 to 30. That gives me some idea. So again, I appreciate at least that much. Only once I scored 27.8, but my average has always been 16 or 17. I believe this to be quite low for a 25-year-old man and have complained to my doctor, but he feels they are normal and subsequently do not need TRT. I'm a recreational bodybuilder and want to put on more muscle and was thinking of taking a cycle of steroids to increase gains, but also I heard about HCG and testosterone being used as a combination to treat or increase natural testosterone levels in men. So I am considering taking a 12-week cycle of Cypionate alongside 50 milligrams of Anavar for 6 weeks. After 12 weeks, I want to stop taking the steroids and take HCG for 1 month and then come off HCG and take a PCT, post-psychotherapy, of either Clomid or Nashazol because I heard they were effective and not known to cause much hair loss. If I take this approach, do you think I would be killing two birds with one stone by making gains and increasing my natural testosterone production after this cycle? Or am I misguided and too ambitious? Does the doc even think my levels of testosterone are even worth treating with TRT? This isn't the end of the question. Also, I want to take 5 milligrams of finasteride during my cycle of test and Anavar and during PCT to avoid any hair loss because I already have a receding hairline. I've had it since I was 7 years old. I have pictures. I believe you. However, I am worried about finasteride because many people report not having sexual desire or ability to get erections after taking finasteride for hair loss. My libido is perfect and I do not want to create a new problem. Are there any alternatives to mitigate further hair loss on a cycle of testosterone and Anavar if one already has male pattern baldness? Thank you very much and wish you and the doc a happy new year. Greetings from London, UK. Regards. Okay, you're probably not going to like my answer on this one. At 25 years old, you've answered one of my questions that, again, is partly up here. I always talk about the signs of low testosterone. First of all, 25 years old, very unlikely that you're dealing with low testosterone. Doesn't mean you're not, but very unlikely. And if I'm reading this correctly, okay, a testosterone level of, and again, this is, in my mind, it's got to be free. I say got to be. I'm assuming it's free testosterone of 17.1 picograms per milliliter. That's pretty doggone good, okay? And having scored a 27.8 is also pretty doggone good. So we've got 2 data points. And that means we're in the mid to high range. So I'm not really suspect based on 2 factors: youth and your actual scores. So and the fact that the libido is good is what are we treating here? He says low energy. Okay, well there's a lot of things that can affect low energy. And remember I talked about you've got libido, energy, and I'm just giving you very generalized information. Sense of well-being. Okay, those 3 come with low testosterone. Okay, but those are also very much affected by your personality. The one that's the dead giveaway when I'm dealing with someone who walks in who's 45 years old is the, gosh darn it, I can't do anything to change my body composition. I'm going to the gym more, I'm eating better. Okay, that's where personality can't overcome that. That's the eating right, sleeping right, and training right. Okay, and the leverage of testosterone. If that's missing, okay, that's why we don't see 60-year-olds on the cover of magazines showing their bods unless they're on replacement therapy, right? We all know that one. So in general, to skip through, I don't mean to skip through part of this, but to cut to the chase, I'm listening to someone who probably should focus more on eating right, maybe even having to quote unquote overeat. If you're naturally ectomorphic like I am and a lot of people, you got to eat, man. I can remember literally falling asleep, waking up the next morning covered in whatever I was eating before I fell asleep, propped up on pillows because my stomach was out to here, and if I laid down, I was going to explode, just like in Monty Python's movie, the one thin mint. I don't know if you know. Maybe some people know the Monty Python movie. Oh, come on, one more. Just it's a thin paper, a thin mint, or whatever. The guy explodes. Anyway, sorry to digress. Training right, eating right, and sleeping right, it sounds like something that should be focused on now. On a more helpful note, although I hope that's helpful, but maybe one that won't be as disappointing to what you want to hear, the TSH of 5.5 is definitely not normal, okay? A TSH, at least, if you look at LabCorp and for most of the US numbers, is 0.45 to 4.5. That's your TSH. Now, the Endocrine Society will say, if your TSH is above 2.5 and you have symptoms, meaning you have dry hair, dry skin, you're the one that's cold all the time. And again, I look at your carburetor, your idle speed. Sorry, carburetors don't exist anymore. But if you feel like your idle speed is a little sluggish, then you look to the thyroid and you say, okay, maybe we should treat this. And it sounds to me like this is worth treating. 16% of the population will not convert, T4 to T3. So the doctor is already willing to admit, based upon what I'm understanding here, that we've got a thyroid issue, okay? But he's treating with just T4. And by the way, he's not telling me is this free T4 or total T4. Where the rubber meets the pavement, bottom line is free T3, okay? So those numbers I'd be more interested in hearing about. But again, I'm presuming the doctor knows what he's talking about. Why should I presume otherwise? And he's prescribing this thyroid based upon his free T3. But 16% of the population not converting means you could be giving this guy T4 all day long and nothing's going to happen. So it's interesting to note that he started taking, iodothyronine, Cytomel, and boom, he started feeling better. And he doesn't mention any more about, subsequent to that as I'm reading here. He just switches to the discussion of taking steroids. So one more thing I want to answer here is I would definitely not recommend taking finasteride because you're talking about 2 different things. A receding hairline, okay, this thing here that I have, okay, that's based upon choosing my parents. And I love my parents, but in that one regard, I didn't choose them as well as I could have, right? This is something that's in your genes or it's not, but not affected by dihydrotestosterone. And therefore, using testosterone, blocking the conversion of testosterone into dihydrotestosterone is not going to make any difference. General hair thinning as you get older, yes. But more importantly, he then refers to male pattern baldness. That is also predetermined genetically, and he'll know in another 5 years if it's going to exist. But that is affected by dihydrotestosterone. So just want to clarify that. Taking finasteride now, I would not suggest it at all. Because if you do have, and it doesn't sound like you do have low testosterone, but if you do, then I call it the caveman testosterone. That dihydrotestosterone is giving you something. It's giving you a boost. If you've got low T and then you're hanging on by a thread, if you will, by this DHT, you bury that, then you're going to feel crappy. And everyone then blames it on finasteride. And I'm not trying to take away from the cases that people have against Big Pharma and their production of finasteride, although actually I am, because I don't believe that's what's happening here. Because I've seen people come back from it, it's just the timing is terrible. I can name in, over 10,000 patients a long time ago, 6 people, really, half a dozen people that when I utilized finasteride said, you know what, doc, you kind of took away my mojo. Now 6 people out of 10,000 does not convince me. There could be any number of concurrent factors that made a difference. We got them off it, and then 2 weeks later said, yeah, I got my mojo back. Could be, could not be. I'm not stating one or the other. But I'm not convinced that these 30-year-olds or so, if you look at the evidence, that are suffering once they go on finasteride. The timing is just too coincidental. I'm not convinced it's because of finasteride per se. It's just you took the wrong medicine at the wrong time. We get your testosterone levels back up, and you'll be fine.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So. Again, I don't think I gave him the answer he wanted, or I hope he did, because I'm giving him my honest answer. Because a lot of guys, hey, I want to go on T and I want to look like, Steve Reeves right away, or whoever the modern day Steve Reeves is. Boy, I know I'm dating myself now. But with these numbers, again, go see a doctor. I'm just giving you non-medical commentary here. It doesn't sound like you're ready for a cycle, but I hope some of the other information I gave is useful, not just to you, but to everybody.
All right, perfect.